America's pastime has been a part of the Vegas community for over 40 years. And as our city grew, so did the love of the game. Now, excitement is growing for our next home team. All season long, Fox 5 and the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network are covering athletics baseball on the field, in our community, as we build our future together. America's pastime will soon call the Valley home. Play ball, Las Vegas. This is Covering the Bases with the A's.
What's up, baseball fans? We're back. Welcome to the first ever Las Vegas show devoted strictly to athletics baseball. This is Covering the Bases with the A's. Mike Davis here along with Kevin Bollinger. Kevin, tell us what's on deck.
A lot in store for you. Here's the batting order for today's show. We have a closer look at the four-game series with the Angels and a preview of the weekend matchup with the Phillies. Plus, we're going inside the clubhouse with athletics insider Jessica Kleinschmidt. Then later, a trip to the farm with Mariah Janos talking to Aviators manager Fran Riordan. But first, Mike, we need to talk about the big news, an injury to the leading AL Rookie of the Year candidate, Jacob Wilson.
Diaz, Wood, and Bohm. Soderstrom's in there as well. And now Wilson just got hit up and in.
So facing the Angels on Tuesday, bottom of the third, Jacob Wilson took a sinker from pitcher Kyle Hendricks to his left forearm area.
Yeah, interestingly, though, Wilson stayed in the game. It wasn't until the fifth inning when Wilson left, and what the A's reported was a left forearm contusion. Let's hear what A's manager Mark Kotze had to say about the x-rays on Wilson's forearm.
You know, it's a bruise, so the x-rays were negative day to day, basically. You know, he stayed in the game, played defense, went to go hit, and didn't feel he could fire a quality swing, so we removed him from the game.
So, Kev, a major sigh of relief there for A's fans, a favorite for Rookie of the Year. He leads all AL rookies in hits, doubles, RBIs, and is tied for home runs. Now, the A's starting shortstop also ranks third in the entire MLB in batting average with a .341 batting average. So it really doesn't seem like Wilson's going to be out for an extended period of time, but when do you expect him to return?
Well, you heard Mark Kotze say day to day. That's big. It's really going to all come down to how fast the swelling goes down in that forearm area so we can get that good grip for the good swing. And since they are calling him day to day, as of when we're taping this show right now, they haven't called anybody up from the Aviators. So I'd expect it'll probably be back for the weekend series with the Phillies. And the A's ultimately, of course, would lose another close game on Tuesday night after Wilson left the game. They lost that game 7-5. The Angels hit 2 home runs in that game. The A's pitching staff giving up 17 dingers in the last 7 games.
Yeah, a lot of home runs there. Now the Athletics will look to split the series with 2 more at home versus the Hot Halos. Now let's go to the Bay, though. A tough 3-game series for the Athletics with very little offense for the green and gold. Game 1, they went down 9-1 as Giants first baseman Wilmer Flores drove in a career-high 8 runs on 3 home runs, including a grand slam. Then in Game 2 at Oracle Park, a dramatic 1-0 shutout with Flores playing hero again, this time in extras with a walk-off walk. Now Sunday, more clutch play in the 8th gave the Giants the series sweep.
And great pitching for the Giants, really the difference in this series. Landon Roop, Logan Webb, Justin Verlander, all tough pitchers obviously to face. But there was a promising sign on the mound for the A's in this series. Luis Severino putting his talent on display. He went 6 innings, struck out 5, walked only 1, and gave up 4 hits. It's a reminder that although he hasn't really had the greatest start to the season, the 31-year-old going to be a force once he gets things cooking.
Yeah, Kev, as the A's look to compete and contend for an AL West division title, can Severino really be the ace for a playoff team, or is he really more suited as the number 2 in a rotation?
Well, the expectation is for him to be the ace. That's why they gave him $67 million over 3 years. That's more than the A's have ever given a player. So far this season, he's a different pitcher really on the road versus at home in Sacramento. Severino was 0-4 with a 6.75 ERA, but on the road he's 1-0 with a .72 ERA.
All right, so on the road doing well, but he needs to get going at Sutter Health Park.
All right, let's take a look at the series with the LA Dodgers. After bashing LA 11-1 in the first game of the series, things really took a turn for the A's.
Yeah, the A's dropped the last 2 games of the series 3-9, then 2-19. Both games were filled with home runs as Shohei Ohtani kicked off Wednesday's game with a leadoff homer. Then Thursday was a big day for the superstar as he went yard twice, driving in 6 runs, all on his bobblehead night at Dodger Stadium. And as we're taping this on Wednesday, May 21st, he's currently leading the majors in home runs with 17.
But the bright spot for the A's, a special moment for A's backup catcher Johnny Pareda. In an effort to give the bullpen a break in a game that was already pretty much lost, Pareda came in to pitch the 8th inning, and like you mentioned, Mike, the reigning National League MVP already had hit 2 home runs, but on this at-bat, it was an everlasting memory for the backup catcher, as with the count 1-2, Pareda dished out an 89-mile-per-hour four-seamer. Ohtani foul-tipped it into Shea Langelier's glove. Take a listen for the call here from A's announcer Jenny Cavnar.
Oh, Johnny Pareda strikes out Shohei Ohtani. Talk about a mic drop. He had to wipe his own nose.
Get you some. JP stepping on the gas pedal. Little elevation situation.
I mean, there is nothing fun about being on the losing end of a 17-2 game right now. But that is one moment that Johnny Pareda will have for a lifetime.
Look at that high heat. And Kev, you heard that you heard that pop in the mitt right there. Here's the interesting thing, though. Get this. So Pareda, 4th career pitching appearance that was, in his 3rd this season. It's a game and a moment that this 29-year-old will certainly never forget.
Yeah, obviously, as Jenny said, you never want to get into a spot where a position player is pitching. That's never a good sign. But the Dodgers had to do it the night before in that A's blowout win. The situation with Pareda did provide at least a little bit of a levity in a rough game for the A's. They actually threw that ball out so he could save it as a souvenir. It also saved the bullpen arm. So from that standpoint, I guess it served its purpose. A little bit of levity, a little bit of help for the bullpen to not have to throw an extra inning.
Yeah, it was a nice thing to see there. Certainly some levity. Now, guys, on deck, it's A's insider Jessica Kleinschmidt. After the break, we're going inside the clubhouse.
And before we hit the break, our very first A's trivia question of the day. We're going to see how well you know your A's pitchers. Every truly great team needs more than one ace if they want to go far. So with that in mind, which famous A's 1-2 pitching duo combined for more wins as members of the franchise? So let's pull it up for you here. Was it Barry Zito and Tim Hudson, Dave Stewart and Bob Welch, Catfish Hunter and Vida Blue, some great names here, or Eddie Plank and Rube Waddell, going way back? The answer after the break.
You're watching Covering the Bases with the A's.
We're back with the answer to our first trivia question this week. Which of these legendary pitching duos won more games as members of the A's? We're looking for the very first pennant-winning 1-2 punch in A's history, Eddie Plank and Rube Waddell. They combined for more than 400 wins. That's almost twice as many as second place on this list. We're going to learn a little bit more about Waddell in a few minutes in my Green and Gold Throwback series, but first, got to tell you about Eddie Plank. He was known as Gettysburg Eddie. That's where he was from. You might remember him from last week's Green and Gold Throwback. He was the franchise leader in wins, still is, with 284, which is more by himself than any of those duos that I listed. If anyone's going to break his franchise record for wins, they'd have to average more than 20 wins over 14 years. All right, Kevin, send it over to you.
We're joined now by A's insider Jessica Kleinschmidt. And Jess, after that big win to start the series against the Dodgers, the A's have hit a little bit of a rough spot. Any concern? What's going on with the thoughts there inside the A's camp?
There's some concern. I will give some props to Jeffrey Springs and Luis Severino, who have had fantastic starts. The guys that we wanted heading into the season, acquiring them in the offseason. But it's a lot of these one-run games. You know, of course, the Giants swept the A's, and it was coming down to the wire. And I don't know if it's bullpen management. The bullpen is certainly not what it used to be. I know the last time I was here, I was talking about how great that bullpen is. That's not the case anymore. And when it comes to the starting pitching, how great it's been. Even the young guys, JT Ginn's back. Gunnar Hoagland's been really fantastic, and they've been great. They're trying to get through 6 and 7 innings and get to the bullpen, or even trying to hold the bullpen off as much as possible. Mitch Spence had a recent outing that was really strong. Michel Otanez is back. Only 3 outings so far, but he's looking to come, back to his original stuff. He has the velocity there, but it's only been 3 starts since coming off the IL for his season debut. So it's the bullpen and perhaps some of the situational hitting, runners in scoring position, a lot of opportunities to score, and they're just not doing it.
You mentioned the pitching staff. Almost all the transactions for the Athletics in May have been with the pitching staff. Part of it injury related, but also maybe trying to find the right guys between the Aviators and the A's to make sure that that bullpen kind of gets some solid efforts out there.
Yeah, absolutely. We're really thankful that JT Ginn's injury was a small one. He only needed 1 rehab assignment with the Aviators, so that's good news. 7 strikeouts in his last outing. Only had about 79, 80 pitches, which is somewhat of a pitch limit, which is what they want, and he was comfortable with that. I asked him that recently. And we mentioned Severino and Jeffrey Springs. Severino's win-loss record isn't really characteristic of what he's able to do, but you shouldn't care about pitcher wins. He made the joke, though, those road and home splits are crazy, Kevin. For him to pitch on the road, he said, if I just did that all season, I would have the quote, frickin' Cy Young Award winner. And I think that we can all agree with that. And Jeffrey Springs, he just needed those 40 and 50 innings to settle in. And as far as JP Sears goes, his last outing remained a lot to be desired, but overall, he's been the most consistent guy within that rotation. You mentioned that the 5th, 6th spot in the rotation has been pretty awesome to watch. There's competition there. We'll see how things go as time goes on, because injuries, of course, are going to take place, but there's a lot of depth for the first time with starting pitching in this organization.
Monday night against the Angels, Nick Kurtz made a phenomenal play on a tag that had to go to review, and the A's got the call on the review. How excited are the A's for the athleticism that Kurtz brings on top of the potential that he has at the plate as well?
Great question. I know we're very obsessed with the bat, and rightfully we should be, but I'm just glad that the A's are filling the void defensively, because there hasn't been a strong first baseman since Matt Olson. I know people want to comp, and that's kind of a high standard of a comp, but think about it. The body type's there. He's a lefty. He has the baseball IQ, and obviously I think as time goes on, he gets some more major league play. It's going to become more and more second nature, but so far he's been rather impressive, and he doesn't have to worry about the foul territory that the Coliseum used to have, so he can actually kind of hone in on those skills a little bit more, and obviously he's a very big target.
It is A's insider Jessica Kleinschmidt. Jess, thanks for the time.
Thanks for having me.
All right, coming up, we're taking a trip to the farm. Mariah Janos talks with the manager of the Aviators. Plus, we're going back in time. Get ready for a brand new edition of Green and Gold Throwback.
You're watching Covering the Bases with the A's.
All right, it's time for our second look back now at the storied past of the Athletics. Last week, we took you all the way back to their very first season, 1901. And now we're going to pick up where we left off with some uncertainty surrounding the status of their very best player by far, Napoleon Lajoie.
When the Athletics got Nap Lajoie to come over from the crosstown Phillies in their first year of existence, it was an absolute coup. But the Phillies owner filed suit, saying his property, as he called Lajoie, had to be returned. While the case made its way through the courts, Lajoie had an all-time great season for the A's. But at the start of the 1902 season, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court said he could not play in the state if it wasn't in a Phillies uniform. So the A's sold him to Cleveland, and just like that, they were down the best player in baseball. But just in the nick of time, their newest addition immediately emerged as the best pitcher in the game. Rube Waddell was something of an urban legend. His childhood hobby was throwing rocks at birds. It's how his arm got so strong. When he started playing baseball, Rube would celebrate a good inning by cartwheeling or somersaulting back to the dugout. During the offseason, he'd disappear for months. One time, he came back to the team saying he had spent the entire winter wrestling alligators. Rube would get to the stadium just before a game started wearing his street clothes, and then he'd change into his uniform on the field. The thing he was most famous for, though, was his love of fire trucks. If he saw or heard one driving by the park, he would literally run off the mound and go chase it. And the rest of the players on both teams would just have to wait until he was back to keep playing. Despite all these oddities, Rube led the American League in strikeouts and finished second in wins and earned run average. Some other players that sparked the team were Topsy Hartzell, the new left fielder who led the league in stolen bases, and Sock Siebold, who led the majors in home runs. This infusion of new talent spurred the A's all the way to first place. They won their first ever pennant in their second year of existence.
Now, you might be thinking, well, what happened after that? Don't you play in a World Series after you win a pennant? Well, this is why the story didn't end there. It's because the World Series did not actually exist back in 1902. That's how long ago this team was founded. It wasn't until the next year that the very first one was played, but it wouldn't be long until the A's got their shot in the postseason. We're going to talk about that next week. This has been Green and Gold Throwback. Mariah, send it over to you.
The Las Vegas Aviators have dominated the first month and a half of play, sitting atop the Pacific Coast League standings, boasting a 30-15 record. And according to manager Fran Riordan, the dominance is a direct result of the entire roster buying in and playing complementary baseball.
That was a great play. Thomas driven to center and deep. Barossa back at the track. This ball is gone.
We're tops in the league in pitching, hitting, and defense. And when you do all those things at a really high level, at a really consistent level, you're going to come out on top more often than not.
Well, going off of that, you guys have a plus 90 run differential at the moment. What is it about this roster, both your pitching staff and then the guys at the plate, that allows you to have that complementary game?
Well, I think as a pitching staff, we throw strikes. We have a lot of guys with really good stuff, but they throw it in the zone. We're really efficient. Hitting, same thing. We take a lot of walks. We don't go outside of the zone a lot. We don't chase a lot, and so there's never really breathing room for the opposing pitchers.
Sticking with the performance at the plate, Willie McIver, 392 average right now. His on-base plus slugging is above 1. What have you seen from him that you like from him? Obviously, he's leading the league in hitting right now. He's a monster at the plate.
Yeah, he's been really great for us so far this year. There's not a lot of homers, but there's a lot of doubles. There's a lot of walks. There's a lot of just hard contact all over the field, and you're always going to get a quality at bat out of Willie, and that's why he leads the league in hitting.
Not only are you guys kind of hitting your stride right now, but the Athletics as well have been pretty good to start the season. It seems like as of late, those draft picks that you guys have accumulated in the past, you're watching them develop through the farm system, and it's paying its dividends now at the AAA level and the Major League level.
We've done a really good job the last 2-3 years of drafting, developing, identifying what will make future great big league players, and I think you're starting to see that come to fruition, especially for the A's this year. You know, we have a lot of young homegrown players on that roster, and I think there's a lot more here in AAA and a lot more in AA and the lower levels that are going to make an impact in the future as well.
Now, the OKC Dodgers are just 2 games back in the PCL standings, so the Aviators will look to add more to the win column in the upcoming 6-game series against the Sugar Land Space Cowboys to give themselves some breathing room at the top.
Okay, we're taking one more break here on Covering the Bases with the A's. When we return, we're breaking down the A's series versus the Phillies.
And it's time for trivia question number 2 of this week's episode. We're going to be talking about the A's best player so far this season. We've already talked about him today. That's rookie shortstop Jacob Wilson. He's hitting the ball real well this year. He's got a chance to become one of the several great players produced by his alma mater, Grand Canyon University in Phoenix. The best of those players is which of these officially named men? Is it Mike Trout, Mike Karp, Tim Salmon, or A.J. Pollock? One of those guys went to Grand Canyon. Think about that for a few minutes until we come back.
You're watching Covering the Bases with the A's.
All right, we're back with an answer to the question, with whom does A's rookie phenom Jacob Wilson share an alma mater at Grand Canyon University? If you said Tim Salmon, a.k.a. Kingfish, you're right. Salmon played his whole career with the Angels, who are in Sacramento right now playing the A's. They got a game airing right here on this channel in about 12 hours.
Welcome to fabulous Las Vegas, where the lights never dim and the energy never fades. The sports and entertainment capital of the world. But it wasn't always that way. This is a city that's mastered the art of reinvention. So why not do it again? A's baseball is coming to Las Vegas in 2028. They say good things come to those who wait, but we're not here to be good. We're here to be great, and we're not waiting. The Neon City is about to shine even brighter and a whole lot greener. Every day, every play. This patch is more than a statement. It's a promise. Las Vegas, we're coming.
I'm pumped up. A's fans get priority access to purchase season tickets in Las Vegas for just $19.01.
Current A's season ticket members, Aviators season ticket holders, as well as Clark County residents who secure their spot on the priority access list will receive purchase priority ahead of the general fan. For more information, just visit athletics.com/Vegas.
And Aviators fans, don't forget you can watch select games right here on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. Your next opportunity will be Tuesday, May 27th, when the team takes on Oklahoma City.
You can catch that game and so much more from the first place Aviators on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network over the air on channel 5.2, Cox 77, YouTube TV, and Fubo TV. Now, after a string of series facing California teams, the A's welcoming the Phillies from the East Coast over this weekend.
Yes, as we're taping this, the Phillies are sitting atop the NL East with the best record in the National League. The three-game series is a great opportunity for the A's to get back on track.
And the Phillies are coming off a four-game series with the Rockies. It's likely they will catch Zach Wheeler on the mound.
Plus, get this, Kev, yes, Vegas native Bryce Harper, he's on a tear since chopping off that long hair, batting over 500, 13 hits, 7 RBIs over his last 7 games.
That is a wrap for Covering the Bases. For Mike Davis and all our crew here in Las Vegas, I'm Kevin Mulligan.
We'll see you next time here on Covering the Bases with the A's.